your ears hurt, would you stop fighting? No, no, no. I'm a fan. Hi, my name is Darren Naish. I'm a paleontologist and monster expert, and today I'm going to be reality checking the game MonsterHunter. So I've heard quite good things about MonsterHunter and my expectations are very high. People have always wanted to visualize fantastic creatures within like the real world space, and modern gaming gives you an amazing opportunity to do that.
What would you love to see from your perspective?
What I want to see in a game is that the creatures make sense in terms of how they operate.
Are you excited to get started?
I'm very excited to get started. It's basically a theropod dinosaur of some kind, and it unmistakably has the head of a modern animal, an animal that was alive until just a couple of hundred years ago, and that is of course the dodo, a giant flightless pigeon unique to Mauritius in the Indian Ocean. Whether you would get a giant theropod like this in combination with a head like a dodo, it's clearly a bit of a comedy creature. It's a bit dopey. It's got kind of a funny, crazy chicken thing going on. A niche, weird thing that some of us have been talking about over the past like 4 or 5 years is, were some extinct dinosaurs tool users? There's also this idea that during the time of the dinosaurs, in the Jurassic and Cretaceous in particular, eggs were super abundant, and we know from a whole bunch of birds today that if they find eggs, they know how to break eggs open. They will lift up stones and smash eggs open. If you now think of like velociraptor type dinosaurs, you know, like 90 million years ago, would they have done a similar thing? We don't know, we're probably never gonna know, but that's an idea that's been seriously discussed. So Kulu Ya Ku picks up things with its hands, eats eggs. I think it makes pretty good sense as an animal. I'm gonna give it a pass. We're not getting a clear view of it at the moment. This is pretty clever. We're sort of kind of getting these sneaky views trying to work out what is this creature. And it is the Rath. There isn't a single universal dragon theory, but what appears most likely at the moment is that people in devising fantastic, imaginary, powerful beasts took all the cool bits from all the scary animals and smashed them all together, and that's dragons. So European dragons have got like the talons of an eagle, the bill of an eagle, the giant wings of a bat, the body of a lion, the protective scales of like a giant reptile, like a crocodile or something, and they're also super powerful, and they can breathe fire as well. So it's not like you can come up with, oh, it's based on sightings of the Komodo dragon, it's based on people finding dinosaurs. No, 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 it's not. It's got a fire gland and it breathes fire, and there's a long history of people trying to work out whether this is actually biologically possible. The short answer is no. The longer answer is people have pointed to various weird things in the real world, most famously bombardier beetles, which eject a superheated cloud of noxious gas out of their back end. We don't have any mechanism known to us by which an animal could produce fire, but in the speculative biology world, people have come up with kind of pretend explanations for how it might have been possible for a dragon. But the point of MonsterHunter is they went to so much trouble to try and engineer a biology that might allow it. They've got a fire gland in the throat, which is kind of like internally plated, and they store a gas in there, right? That's all biologically possible. Before the Rath actually expels fire, you see there's this inhalation and some sort of like gassy trigger at the back of the mouth, and then it ignites the cloud of gas that it burps out, which is pretty impressive level of creature building. For that reason, I am going to give it a pass. What the heck's going on? We can see some horns. We know this creature with horns. It's got teeth. It's got limbs. It walks. It is the Diablos. So this creature is a kind of mashup of a number of different things, and most obviously in the head, it's based on Triceratops. If this creature weren't in this game and I only knew it from its skull alone, I would presume that those horns have a really important role in combat. But we know that this animal is a digger, and it's meant to use its horns on the front of its face in digging, and the rest of its body isn't really consistent with that kind of lifestyle. far as we know. There have been a couple of animals that do combine a digging lifestyle with the presence of horns. There are some digging snakes like sidewinders that got little horns above the eyes. There's an extinct group of rodents that have got vertical little horns on the top of the head, but they didn't have giant whacking great big horns that pointed forwards and which would probably impede any forward progress through the ground. I'm afraid it's got to be a fail on that one. So we're seeing here a creature that's pretty obviously based on a predatory dinosaur. Almost certainly specifically T-Rex itself. It kills other large animals, as we can see in this scene here. The designers really went to town in terms of giving this animal soft tissue display structures. It's got these paired dorsal sails over the hips and tail, and it's got this inflatable kind of erectile head structure as well. And I really would like to know if that is inspired by the anatomy of this structure that you can see in this T-Rex skull here. This is called the antorbital fenestra. So quite a lot of us that are interested in dinosaur life appearance at the moment do wonder whether these animals had like inflatable and erectile structures that you can't necessarily work out from fossils whether they were definitely there. So these structures probably have a role in making the animal look larger. They're related to a threat display. The fact that it's got these like really interesting stowable display structures, I think is pretty plausible, pretty interesting, and for that reason I am going to give it a pass. So not really clear what's going on at the moment. Oh dear. Quite a departure in terms of body form from a lot of the MonsterHunter creatures we've seen so far. It is very clearly based on lizards and specifically iguanas, and probably specifically the green iguana. But its trick is it's able to consume giant objects, thereby distending its skin to a pretty grotesque degree. There's obviously a bunch of giant snakes that do this. There's a group of fishes, black swallowers, that can do this. That lifestyle is only workable if you can then go away and tuck yourself in a corner for a couple of months and just digest it without moving, because the animal at that time is supremely vulnerable. I don't think that the various details of its anatomy really add up to how it behaves in the game. It's got to be a bit of a fail, I'm afraid. Oh, this is the Tigrex, which is kind of giant, chunky, quadrupedal, dragon-y type creature. It's extensively armored. It's able to summon this great amount of like force with its voice and discharge this massive amount of, I think, sound energy, which is damaging to the player. So we do know of living animals that produce really loud sounds that are used in stunning prey. Sperm whales and pistol shrimps both do this. They make incredibly loud sounds of over 200 decibels, but this only works because they're doing it in water. Air is just not dense enough for you to be able to send out a burst of energy and for it to incapacitate or temporarily injure someone. If your ears hurt, would you stop fighting? I'm not sure. And that is a fail from me. So we've got a very gnarly, super armored quadruped with little vestigial wings. It is flightless. It can leap. It can do various tail moves that involve leaping. It has a massive bladed weapon on its tail. But of course, the thing it's famous for is it secretes a noxious gas through various pores. There are various living animals that do secrete noxious gases, most famously, of course, skunks, but they come from specialised glands in special parts of the body. The idea they might seep out through pores all over the place is kind of difficult to understand. So on the basis of its look, absolutely love it. It's a really fun creature. Would give it a pass for that reason. But the noxious gas thing, that means from the biological side of things, it's got to have a fail, I'm afraid. Yeah, super powered, like elder dragon kind of creature. Its spininess all over the place is its major plus point. And the fact that when its spines are cut off or damaged, oh, there we go, it can regrow them Instantly. Spines in lots of animals, think of porcupines and hedgehogs. They're modified hairs. And of course, we know that hairs are shed all the time and new hairs grow. There used to be this old myth about porcupines being able to shoot out their quills and then rapidly regrow them. So were they inspired by this mythical view of porcupines? It's not doing things according to the rules of human biology or lizard biology. It's really huge fan of the design, this look of this creature. In terms of the idea of regrowing thousands of spines a second and having this ability to just regenerate, well, biologically, that's a fail. I am super impressed with MonsterHunter. Really liked the intricacy, level of detail in the world building. I like the fact that almost every aspect of the creatures actually has an explanation. And to me, the creatures don't look silly, non-believable. They make sense from a creature design point of view. So I'm a fan. So like, comment and subscribe to PC Gamer's YouTube channel for other reality checks featuring myself and other experts, and see you next time.